In today's video, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Roblox so you can decide if it's something that you want to have for your kids. And if you do, how you can set it up to be as safe as possible. I'll show you all the ways that people interact on this platform and all of the different settings that you can tweak to limit the amount of interaction that your child has with strangers. And at the end of this video, we'll decide if Roblox is really safe for kids or not. First, for those of you who aren't really familiar with Roblox, here is a little overview. Roblox is an online gaming platform that is used by over 66 million users per day. Users can choose from a huge library of games that were created by other Roblox users. You can even create your own games, although this process does require some basic coding knowledge. The games are played online with other players who can interact with each other in the games. And since over half of Roblox users are under the age of 13, it's important to understand if this is even safe for kids. While it's definitely very popular with kids, anyone can play it. And since it's an interactive online game, you need to understand how it works and what steps you can take to make sure that your kids are safe online. Before I show you the parent features and how you can set it up to be as safe as possible for your kids, let me just show you what Roblox is all about. So here I am logged into Roblox. I am an adult, but I can create an account just like anyone else can. Join any games I want, see which users are in the games, participate in the chats, and send friend requests to other users. So keep that in mind. As a parent, you don't need to create your own account, but you definitely need to make sure that you can access your child's account so you can set up the parental controls. I will show you how to do that in a few minutes. Anyway, the first tab here, Discover, is the list of games that you can play. You can already see how some of them might look scary. Now the graphics aren't very detailed. They're often kind of blocky and boxy, as you'll see. So the scary games aren't necessarily realistic, but they can still be scary and even a bit violent, depending on what you consider violent in video games. You can set the age level of which games your child can play. But even if you set the most restrictive age limit, it still will show all of these games. So your child will still be able to see the thumbnail pictures, even if they won't be able to play all of them. The next tab up top is the Marketplace. This is where your child can spend Robux, which is the in-game currency. You need to use real money to get Robux. In addition to the things here that are mostly just ways to customize their avatar, your child can also use Robux in the games to unlock certain features. And this is how the creators of the games can make money. You can certainly play Roblox without any real money, but just don't be surprised if your child asks you for Robux. They even have Roblox gift cards for this. My 9-year-old just got a few of these for her birthday. The next tab is the Create tab. This is all about how you can create your own games in the Roblox studio. Remember, anyone with a little basic knowledge of coding can create games here and then make them available to other Roblox users. And you really have no idea who makes these games. So even though Roblox does their best to monitor what games are on their platform, they can't possibly review and control every aspect. So just something to be aware of. The last tab here is where you can buy Robux. They offer one-time purchases as well as subscription packages. Remember, you don't need this, but your child will probably ask for it. Over here is where you can see your profile. This is mine that I made. I actually do like playing Roblox with my daughter. Some of the games are pretty fun. This is where you can customize your avatar and also where your favorite games and things like that can be found. Your friends will be shown here as well. Then we have notifications, Robux, I don't have any, and settings and help over here. We'll take an in-depth look at the settings in a little bit. Over on the left here is the home button, which is the main screen that shows your friends list, recently played games, and game recommendations. Your profile can be accessed here too. Any messages from other Roblox users will be here. You can change the settings for the messages and who can send your child messages in the parent settings, which I will show you. Friends and friend requests will be shown here. I have a friend request here from someone that I don't know. I did play that shark game recently, so it could just be someone who enjoyed playing the game with me. But you see how anyone can send a friend request. And as far as I know, there was no way to block this. So you need to pay attention to who sends your kids friend requests. And if it were me, I would not allow them to accept any friend requests from anyone they didn't know personally. Over here are things like customizing your avatar and your inventory of items. Trade requests will be shown here. Groups that you can join are shown here. These are built around similar interests and things like that. Over here is a blog, the Roblox store, and a place to purchase gift cards. So that's how the whole Roblox interface looks. Now let me show you a couple of Roblox games. I'll show you one that's pretty popular with kids so you can see what that's like. And then I'll show you a scary one so you can get an idea of what else is out there on this platform. My daughter and her friends have been playing Adopt Me a lot this summer, so let's start with that. Now when you click on a game, you will see a description of the game as well as the age range. This one is all ages, so it is the most restrictive. Store is where you can spend your Robux on items specific to the game. Servers are listed over here. If you don't know what a server is, let me explain that quickly. So basically, a ton of people are online right now playing this game. So they can't all be playing at the same time on one server or it would crash. Kind of like trying to buy tickets to a Taylor Swift concert in the first few minutes when they go on sale. So there are lots of different servers to spread things out so the game works how it's intended. This game has a 48-person max per server. You can really join anyone you want to start playing. If any of your friends are online playing this game, it will show you here, and you can join the server they're in and play together. You can also create a private server here. In this game, it's free. In some games, you need to pay for it. A private server is a safer way for your kids to play online. But it can also be boring since the whole point of Roblox is to play with other people. But if you have a group of kids that are all friends that want to play together, this can be a good option. So to launch the game and just join whatever server is available, we can click here. It's going to install or open the Roblox player, which is required to actually play the games. So this is Adopt Me, and I've played this one before with my daughter, so I know a little bit about how to play it. I've already got a couple pets. I've got my avatar all dressed up for the game, and basically you just take care of a pet and feed it and give it water and various other things that the pet requires. So I've got my pet camel here, and we are going to try to find the pool party because the camel wants to go to the pool party. And as you see, there's someone running over there. That's another player. So everybody you see walking around pretty much is another actual person playing this from their own house. So you see there's a person, and a lot of these people will have like words above their avatar. In this game, it's pretty much just talking about what pet they want to trade. So I haven't seen anything negative at all. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that is the in-game chat. That is where anyone that is currently in this server playing, so those 48 people that can be in a server at one time, that is where they can all interact with each other in basically a big group chat. So you can look over there and get an idea of the kinds of things that people talk about during the chats. Again, I haven't seen anything really much other than people talking about which kinds of pets that they want to trade with other players. So basically that's it. So he's done his pool party, and now he wants a shower. So I just laid down the bed for no reason. And now I'm going to give him a bath. And now he wants to go to the pizza party also. So I'm going to do that with him. So this is basically a very tame kind of children's game. That's, this is one of the all ages ones. Basically just taking care of a pet. So there are a lot of games on Roblox that are similar to this kind of thing, and they're really popular with the younger kids. As I said, my daughter is 9, her friends are around that age, and they really like this game. So again, I'm assuming most of the players on here are also young children, but again, you see that I am here playing it, and so if I can play it, any other adult can play it too and be in here talking to children. So do with that what you will. Get an idea here in this house of where other words can be in the game that aren't just necessarily in the chat. So see this, like you can put a sign in your house and then write what you want it to say. Now, this is talking about scams. I've heard in this game, they're just talking about people that offer to trade a pet that seems better than it really is, and then you get traded out of your pet. But that it is what it is. It's nothing really bad, but you just get an idea of that you can write things on a sign and put it in your house, and it's not always as regulated as perhaps the chat would be. You can also see there's somebody over there running around saying they're thirsty. That's one of the babies. So in this game, there also can be babies that are adopted. So actual human players pretend to be babies that get adopted. And there are other games on Roblox that are like that. So, that's just basically the kinds of things that kids want to play on here. So now I'm going to feed my camel this pizza to keep him happy. And that's really all I wanted to show you in this game. It's most likely just a bunch of little kids that are taking care of their pets and babies and doing very silly, harmless things with them. So this just gives you an idea of what one of the all ages games kind of looks like. That's what Adopt Me looks like. Now let's see what happens if we choose a game that looks scary. I asked my daughter what would be scary to her, and she said The Mimic. She hasn't actually played it, but she has heard about it. So I typed this in, and I might get nightmares just from seeing these pictures. So I clicked on the first one here, and for age guidelines, I'm surprised to see it says not applicable. I looked into this, and supposedly this means an age range has not been set. So therefore, it should default to the more restrictive 13+. I tested this out to make sure by setting my parental settings to a more restrictive option, and sure enough, it says this experience is restricted by your parental controls. So that's good to see. But you can see how your child can still access this page even if they can't play the game. Now I set the parental settings to allow me to play it, so let's check it out. So I was home alone when I filmed myself playing this game. And I have to say, it took me forever to figure out even what I was doing. And then when I finally did, I was really prepared to be scared. It warned me that there would be jump scares and things like that. And I'm sure there are probably a lot, and maybe I just didn't have enough time to continue filming the game. So I couldn't be playing this all day long to see what would happen, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of an idea. Basically, this game and a lot of the horror games on here I've noticed are based on that kind of Japanese style of horror. So, they can be pretty terrifying. And I mean, here is something kind of scary in this morgue type of a room. But again, you can see the graphics aren't that great. It's not realistic, really. But again, I played and I still couldn't really figure out what was supposed to be happening. Something here, when I turn around, looks like it might be something scary. Hold on. Where is it? There. I think that is the thing that you're supposed to be scared of, but it hasn't actually begun. So the game hasn't. See, there's a countdown up top. So the game, it hasn't actually started yet. So here goes. Now there's this little cut scene, and then me and a couple other players ended up in this room here. And I noticed there was nobody talking in the chat window during this game. I wish they had been, because it probably would have helped me figure out what I was even supposed to do. But you can see it's just kind of creepy. And then over here is this thing, which I assume is what eventually is going to be jumping out at you or chasing you or something, because now it just kind of disappears. And now it's gone and everyone's wondering what's going on. And then I think you're just supposed to kind of explore looking for it. I don't know. So I went, and these two people here are actually real people, but I don't know, this game is just kind of like a little different. Like it doesn't have their names above their heads like the other games. I really have not played any of the adult or, older over 13 games because I'm usually only just playing this with my daughter. So I wandered around and I had no idea what was going on. There's some blood, there's some skulls in this room here, and just, it's definitely creepy. There's creepy music playing, and I kept looking, and then I end up going in this one room here, and I just kept expecting something to jump out at me, and you will see in a few seconds where I get scared, but nothing actually jumps out at me. But you'll see me move the mouse. You can tell I was creeped out. Okay, so see what happened there. But now, after that, it just went to like another loading screen, and I couldn't play it all day. So I'm sorry, I don't know how scary the game gets, but that's what we've got to work with. So that's what one of the more scary games looks like. And it's honestly not that bad. I think the pictures on some of these are definitely scarier than the actual content. But it's still definitely a good idea to understand which games your children are playing. Just type in horror and you can see there are a lot more scary looking games. In addition to horror games, there are games that involve guns and violence, and games that you might think are inappropriate, such as the public restroom simulator. See if I type in guns what comes up, or bathroom. Do with this what you will, but I just want to make parents aware of all this. Now it's time to check out those parental settings. You get there by clicking the wheel up here and choosing settings. The first thing here is just basic account info. Security just has to do with account security. Privacy is one of the settings you want to pay attention to. First, you're going to need to create a PIN in order to change any of these settings though, and you do that in the Parental Controls, so we'll look at that first. You just need to come here and enable the parent PIN and then set a PIN. This PIN will be required whenever you want to make a change to any of the settings we're about to talk about. Below here, where it says Allowed Experiences, is where you choose the age range for the games your child will be allowed to play. All ages is the most restrictive. Think of it like a G rating for a movie. Then 9+ would be like PG, 13+ would be like PG-13, and then 17+ would be like mature or R-rated and is the least restrictive. I also just want to point out a couple of more settings that I noticed in the parental controls that I didn't have on my account, but I did find on my daughter's account. I think maybe a couple of these have to do with either the age or the fact that she has Robux. Anyway, the first one here is whose private servers can this account join through links? So it's set to friends, but you could also change that to no one. And then down here are things to do with spending, so to do with the Robux. So you can either set a monthly spend restriction here, or you can enable spend notifications here, and you can change the notifications if you enable them to either default notifications or all notifications. So these are just things to do with Robux. The other section you want to pay attention to here is the privacy settings. Up top here, you can turn account restrictions either on or off. If account restrictions are enabled, then only content appropriate for all audiences will be accessible, and all communication settings will be off. This means no one will be able to message or chat with your child. This might be okay for younger kids, but in my personal opinion, your kids aren't really going to enjoy playing Roblox if they can't even play with their friends. If you want to give them a little more freedom, you can disable the account restrictions and then set these options individually. If you turn communication off, it will be the same as if you enabled the account restrictions above. Change it to default and it changes the settings to this. But let's just put it to custom. Under who can message me, setting this will allow either anyone to message your child, which I do not recommend, no one at all, or these other options. For my daughter, I have it so only friends can message her. This is the messages that are over here that come in like an email message, not the chat window or in-game chat. Who can text chat with me in the app is who can send a text chat that will pop up while you're logged into Roblox, like this one over here. Again, for my daughter, I have this set to friends. The last one has to do with the chat window in the games. My instinct as a parent is to leave this off because the only options are everyone or no one, but it kind of ruins the gameplay to leave it off because part of the fun is talking to other people in the game. Roblox does have some features to keep this safe for kids. Any personally identifying information, like if your child typed their address into the chat, will be blocked and will just show up as a bunch of pound signs. The same goes for swears or anything else that Roblox deems inappropriate. Of course, people will always find ways around this, like purposely misspelling words or things like that. So my suggestion as a parent is that if you are going to allow the chat, spend some time with your child while they're playing and see what's going on in the chat, and then decide for yourself. I've had a lot of talks about Roblox with my daughter, and she knows to come to me if she sees anything that makes her uncomfortable. She has been playing this pretty regularly for the past year, and so far she hasn't found anything. She mostly doesn't use the chat though, so this may change as she gets older. From what I've seen, it's just a bunch of kids talking about the games. But even if you do shut the chat window off, I do want to make you aware that there are other places in the games where text can sometimes show up and be modified. Like I've heard in some games a person can make a sign to walk around with and it can say whatever they want it to say. I've heard of instances where inappropriate things were written and Roblox did not catch it. If you or your child does see anything inappropriate while playing Roblox, I encourage you to report it because we do want to keep this as safe for kids as we can. Down here is something to do with whether to allow your camera to animate your avatar. I didn't even know about this option, so I would just leave that off. Maybe there are certain games that it's needed for, I don't really know. Below here in the other settings are a few more choices. Who can make me a member of their private server should be set to friends or no one. I don't know about you, but I would never allow my kids to join a private server with a stranger. Think of this like the chat rooms from when many of us were growing up. Your parents probably didn't want you joining some private chat room with a stranger. Who can join me in experiences has to do with who can see which games you're playing. If you want your child's friends to be able to see what games they're playing and join them, I would set this to friends. Lastly, who can see my inventory is literally that. Who can see the items your child has in their inventory? This has to do with the items you have in your inventory that someone might want to view and offer to trade with you. Again, to minimize interaction with people your child doesn't know, it's probably best, at least for the younger players, to just set this to friends or no one. And before we move on, just remember to have a chat with your kids about accepting friend requests. Anyone can send a friend request on here. My daughter knows not to accept friend requests from people she doesn't know, but I periodically check who her friends on here are and make sure they are people we actually know in real life. If she has any friend requests from people she doesn't know, I just hit ignore for her if she hasn't done it already. I also want to mention that there is a new voice chat feature that is currently in beta. This is only available for users over the age of 13 who have verified their age, so this should not affect the younger players. And one last thing before we move on. I just want to point out that some of these games are much more popular than others. And this is just my personal opinion, but I just feel like the games that are more popular are also more likely to be regulated. I could be wrong, but I just feel more comfortable with my child playing the more well-known games. You can tell how many people are playing a game under the game's thumbnail on the Discover page. A popular game like Brookhaven may have hundreds of thousands of people playing, where less popular games could have less than 100 people, or even no one at all playing. I would be more concerned about my child joining a game with just a few people personally, because with more people, the more anonymous you can be, which I guess goes both ways, but this is just my opinion on it. Okay, so I promised at the end of this video we were going to decide if Roblox was safe or scary. Again, this is just my personal opinion. Obviously, you should decide this for your own family. All kids are different, all parents are different. This is just how I feel about it. So as for me, well, I wouldn't let my daughter play it if I didn't think it was safe. But this does come with a lot of caveats. It requires the parent to be aware and involved of what their kids are doing on here. I really think you need to make it so they can only message and chat with their actual friends and not accept friend requests from anyone without your approval. I wish it had a way for parents to review all incoming friend requests before your child was able to look at it and click accept, kind of like how it works on Messenger Kids. But you really have to monitor that, and also make sure to set the age restrictions for the games they can play. As for the imagery, yes, there are some scary images on here. But I have to say, that's really just hard to avoid in life, unfortunately. Even sometimes when I turn on my smart TV, there will be some movie recommendation with some scary picture right there, and I really have no idea how to control that. And then I think back to when I was growing up, going to Blockbuster or something like that. If a new horror movie came out, the DVD would be right there for everyone to see with some scary picture on it. Doesn't mean I was going to be able to see the movie, but I saw the ad for it. So I don't like it, but I think it's maybe just part of life. I also want to say that even when you set the age restrictions, they might not always be accurate. So I would certainly still be aware of what games your kids are playing, be it on Roblox or any other games they play on their phone or tablet or wherever. You don't have to be overbearing, but it is important to just always be aware when it comes to keeping your kids safe online. If you have any questions about this at all, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.